Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and today we're going to have an unboxing and review of the Wargames Atlantic Foot Knights. So these are 24 multi-part plastic miniatures. They're 28mm, so our usual range of miniatures. Part of their Age of Chivalry range. They got dates for them, so if you wanted to go, and be really super accurate for what period of time they would be around, you could. Now, as usual, the cover art is, a bit bland, a bit sort of plain, but at least it does show you what you actually get in the box. So if you flip it over, the back is probably even worse. It doesn't really jump out here. It's just like a white piece of paper, basically, with a couple of pictures on it. I think they could really up their game on the box design. Not that, it's something that anyone's going to worry too much about. So it comes with the sprues. So we have 4 sprues. Now you might see that I have only got 3 here, but that's because I'm using one to actually glue together some miniatures so that you can see. So they're all identical sprues, and we have here 6 bodies on each of the sprues. We have a bunch of shields, and we have arms with swords, a couple of scabbards. So we're going to have scabbards and swords for all of the miniatures, which is nice. Then the bodies and the legs are separate, so it's the torso and then legs that go onto the torsos, not all one block, which is quite unusual. So then we got swords, two-handed swords. We have, let's have a look here, guy holding his helmet under his arm. We've got spears. Really, we've got just about anything you want. We've got axes on here. We've got mattocks. Yeah, we got all sorts of weird and wonderful weapons, which, it's quite good to be able to have a bit of variation. We even got some two-handed weapons. So we got 12 heads, I believe. Yeah, 12 heads. For the, so you can mix them up, so that's pretty good. You can have plenty of variation in styles of helmets, etc. Yeah, they look all clean and precise. There's not mold lines on them or anything, because it's the nature of the beast. It's, generally speaking, Wargames Atlantic are pretty good like that. So you have 3 of these smaller shields, 2 of these big shields, and one what I would class as like a Norman shield. If you've ever seen anything with Norman soldiers in, they have those long teardrop shaped shields. It's probably a technical name for them, but I don't know them. So on the back of each of the shields are like a nub for you to put the bloke's or miniatures arm in to hold the shield. So over to some painted. Now some of these aren't painted that great. I'll start with the worst first. So we got this guy that I've painted up. He looks okay. The yellow and orange I think worked quite good. Yeah, and not bad. The thing is, I've already broke his sword and I've had to re-glue it, but you can't really tell very much. This is more of a sort of go get them lads as he's sort of charging forward. And yeah, as you can see, they go together nice, and they are, the shields are blank. So if you are smart and clever at painting, you can do like freehand gorgeous designs. I'm not. So this is just a very sort of basic heraldry pattern on his shield. Next we have this dude. Yeah, I like him. I like his mace. I like that they come with like a large variation of weapons. Yeah, they really let you mix it up a bit. So because these are going to be for Frostgrave or Rangers of Shadowdeep mostly, they're either going to be two-handed weapons or the weapon and a shield, a small weapon and a shield, so they can be either a Templar or a Knight. But yeah, they really look nice. there's not really much more to say about this guy. He's painted up okay. I quite liked painting him. Actually, I enjoy painting heraldry. Even though I'm not that great at it, I do enjoy painting the bright colours, etc. Which, you know, of course, fantasy worlds we generally don't get it, but in historic things we get a lot of very bright colours, especially knights. I like this guy with his two-handed sword and his, you know, bright red tabard. For some reason he's come out very shiny. I don't know why, because I have used matte varnish on him, but the matte varnish, maybe I did it too close or something and he's picked up too much of that. Really like this guy. This is probably one of my favourites. I've painted him up in my sort of cultist sort of scheme, you know, that sort of greys and reds, which is what my cultists are all painted up in. So yeah, it worked out really well. I like the axe pose. I like the way that you can put the scabbard on them. So, you know, as most medieval knights would have had, they have a primary weapon and then they have their sword as kind of their backup weapon, which I think a lot of things do wrong, because, you know, a lot of people, a lot of programs have their sword as primary weapon, and they say now is very unlikely that was ever their primary weapon. That was their weapon to fall back on once they'd lost their spear or big axe or whatever. Then we've got this like commander, and yeah, again, I'm quite pleased with how I painted him up, and he looks really good. I like the colour scheme. I like the white and grey. It works really well. Any criticisms about him? No, I did break his scabbard. You might be able to see there's a bit of a bump halfway down the scabbard. That's where there you go. That's where I've snapped the scabbard. There's nothing to do with the miniatures, really. That's more to do with me being heavy-handed sometimes and snapping off the sword when I'm doing other stuff. The basin is just like the knock grassland or something. And this guy is the most typical looking knight around, but I really like him. Again, he's got that Norman shield that I was on about, and he's got his blue and black heraldry, which, yeah, I think really stands out really well. So you don't have to do them too fancy for them to stand out. And I love that sword. It's like a sort of the Western world equivalent of a falchion, you know, it's that sort of single-sided blade, but quite thicker than a katana, like. And yeah, they really quite like this dude, with the gold band going down like the nasal guard on his full helmet. So all in all, my opinions of these miniatures is really good. I really rate them. They're maybe a bit more, what should I say, a bit more true scale, 28mm, so, you know, they're not as heroic as some of them. So if I put here, this is a cultist from Frostgrave. They've got bigger hands, bigger, you know, heads, etc. But they'll work together fine, you know, so there's no problem with that. Like I said, the only thing is they are slightly more realistic, sort of proportioned, as opposed to the heroic side. So if this is old Ralph Arthur, he actually fits in quite well, actually, which is quite a surprise. So they're slightly smaller in size, maybe, than a Frostgrave miniature, but nothing too much that's too much of a problem for anyone, I don't think. So this is against a Oathmark. Dropped him. Oathmark miniature. Like I said, apart from the proportions, they're almost identical. So yeah, they're going to fit in perfectly fine with whatever fantasy game you play. Maybe not Age of Sigmar, because, you know, or any of the other Games Workshop games, because their proportions are huge. But, you know, any of the other ones, you know, Frostgrave, whatever, like that. So that's been my review of the Wargames Atlantic Foot Knights, and I've really liked putting them together. It's really been quite enjoyable to do. So if you like this video, please leave a like, or if you want, leave a comment, and I will reply to every single comment on my videos. And maybe if you want to see more of this, you will subscribe, and that would be really well received. Thank you very much. But until next time, it's going to be goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer.